The election is finally over, free from all the political ads. Now let's talk about some of the implications this has on aviators. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Mike, and today we're going to talk about taxes, something that I've discussed previously on the channel, but more so given the season. We're in the fourth quarter of the year, and generally speaking, a lot of airplanes get bought and traded during this time of the year. So I want you to be informed whether you're buying your first airplane and or your 10th airplane. You need to know this stuff. Here's the thing. When you're making a purchase of an airplane, like anything else, you have to pay taxes. There are tax implications. Every time a transaction happens in the United States of America, Uncle Sam is going to collect his part. So whether you're buying a $30,000, $40,000 airplane or a $30-40 million airplane, you need to understand the tax implications as it pertains to the sale of that aircraft and the ownership of that aircraft. Unfortunately, there are states that have sales use tax. If you don't understand what that means, think of it as property tax. That is, depending on the state you are or the state where you register your aircraft, you can get taxed annually on the ownership of that aircraft. So again, these are things to keep in mind when you're making that purchase and or when you're registering the aircraft which you have purchased. Now, what does the new president, or Trump in particular, have to do with this? Well, years ago, during Trump's first term, the tax implication for buying and owning an aircraft was this. You were able to write off 100% of the airplane. If you purchased an aircraft that cost $100,000, during tax season, you were able to write off $100,000. For some, what they did was you could spread it out. So say, for example, you don't need a $100,000 deduction. You could write off $20,000 this year, $50,000 the next year, and so on and so forth. Well, when the new administration came in, that rule started to die down, which the second or third year after, you were able to write off 80%. And I know that this year, 2024, you're able to write off about 60%. Well, what does that mean now that Trump has gotten reelected? There's a possibility that the rule of thumb comes back, meaning for pilots and or owners, you may soon be able to write off 100% of the aircraft which you purchase. But hey, don't quote me on this. Now, this is good news, but wait a minute. Whether you write off 100% of your airplane, you still have to pay taxes up front when you purchase that airplane. If you're in the market right now to purchase an airplane, understand that you will have to pay sales tax. And that sales tax can be charged at the very state which you bought the airplane and or the state where you register the airplane. For example, if the airplane which you're purchasing is in the state of New York, you may be liable for taxes in the state of New York and also your home state. I know it sounds crazy, but this is reality. So you may be liable for two separate taxes: point of purchase and point of registration. Now, many states have what's called a flyaway. So you have flyaway states where when you make a purchase in the same scenario, assuming the aircraft you're buying is in the state of New York, depending on New York laws, and I encourage you to go read whatever laws for each state, because I can't be the one telling you this. And I should also put a disclaimer that I am no tax expert or an accountant. I'm just telling you this based on information that I have and my own opinion and my own experience. So back to the example. Same scenario, you're purchasing an airplane in the state of New York. New York State might be a flyaway state. What that means is after the purchase, you will have a set limited amount of time, say 30 days, that you're allowed to get that airplane from New York to your home state, right? Now, beyond that 30 days, if you let the plane sit in a particular state for longer than the allotted time, then you may be liable to taxes to that state. And also when you get to your home state, also pay sales tax. Okay, so I want you to look into those depending on where you're buying an airplane. Because think about it, an airplane 9 out of 10 times may not be in your home state. You're likely going to go to another state to get the airplane. If you get lucky, you might be able to find the airplane that you want locally. So keep that in mind. You can either get charged at the point of purchase, or you have flyaway state where you have a limited amount of time to get the airplane to your home state. Now, let's talk about the sales tax once you register the airplane. Most states, except for maybe Delaware and a few others, you're going to have sales tax. The only difference is the rate of tax which you will be paying. Some states also have a limitation. So, for example, you have states that may have $2,500. So, no matter how much the airplane costs, the maximum amount of tax that they charge you is $2,500. That's very minimal compared to the state of Georgia, for example. I've showed you guys the tax bill that I was sent years ago when I brought my plane in. I remember my first tax bill was about $18,000. Here's the caveat though. If you fly an experimental airplane and or you built your airplane, then your taxes should be different. Meaning, technically, they cannot charge you on a finished airplane. If you build the plane yourself, then really they can maybe tax you on the part of the airplane, which is usually less than the full plane. That was my experience a few years ago, so keep that in mind as well. Now, the third part of tax implication is sales use tax. Depending on where you are, your state might have this. Sales use tax is charged almost annually. And that means as long as your airplane is being kept at a hangar in that state and or registered to that state, you will be charged a sales use tax. If you're just starting out on this journey, it helps for you to educate yourself on this. So that way you know how to move and you know how to register your airplane. If you bring it home to a place like Georgia and or Florida, I know for a fact that these two states have a sales use tax. And so you may be liable for more taxes than you anticipated. So now I say all of that to say this. One, understand that when you make a purchase of an airplane, you're going to be liable for taxes. So make sure you account for that. And two, depending on what the new administration does, you may also be able to write off as much as 100% on your aircraft during the tax season. So you get taxed on the front end, but on the back end, it can also work to your advantage where you're able to get tax deduction on your airplane. So that is my spiel. Again, I'm no expert, and please do not take this for a fact. Do your own due diligence, talk to an accountant or a tax expert, and understand the rules. With that said, let me know if you have any questions in the comments below. Also, if you're in the market for an airplane, reach out to me, mike@mojogrip.net. We do have some aircraft that are for sale right now. Anything from a single piston to twin piston to turbofans and jets. We all have it, and most of them are listed actually on our website, aeroavion.com. So make sure you check it out and shoot me an email, and I'll be happy to help. Okay, thanks so much for watching this video. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. Also, subscribe if this is your first time. I appreciate the support, guys, and I will catch you on the next video. Peace.